Hi, it's Mayor Walter Sendzik, and welcome back to our home, Mayor Sendzik. It has been a wonderful April, and I could say that because we opened the Canada Games Park and the Walker Sports and Ability Center. It's adjacent to Brock University. It is one of the most beautiful sports and recreation facilities in the country, and it exists because of the Canada Games, which are coming to our community in August. And it's going to be a huge community celebration across all of Niagara. The important part about the Games is the legacy that it provides, in addition to the experience for the athletes. It's about 5,000 athletes that'll be coming to our community over those 2 weeks in August. And it's in different sports that they'll be playing. And you know, you look at the Sports and Ability Center, if you haven't had an opportunity, take a drive up there. It's got 2 arenas, ice in the winter, lacrosse in the summertime. It's got 4 indoor basketball, volleyball courts. They convert back and forth. It's the largest wood-sprung floor in Canada. You will be amazed when you see it. It's got a track, a rubberized track indoor upstairs, and that's for all of us, of all abilities, to be able to use. And it's got an international recognized track and field set up right beside the Walker Sports and Ability Center. And that is, again, going to be used for the track and field. But when you look at the Canada Games, there's so much more to the Games. And so today, we're going to be talking with Tim Breadman, who is from the Canada Games, very focused on one aspect of the Games, and that's mountain biking. So it's a great opportunity to learn about a sport that often takes place in the woods that you don't normally see at a venue like the Canada Games Park, but it's an exciting sport and it's a growing sport here in our community. And then after the break, we're going to have Steve Borisenko come on. And Steve's going to be talking about youth substance use and abuse. And he has a personal story that he's going to take us through and how that story has led to something positive that is coming together in our community. So you're not going to want to miss that as well. So, Tim, welcome to the game. Welcome to the game. Welcome to the show. I got to get used to saying welcome to the Games. We did have a big event. It was the 100 Day Out event, and that was at the Meridian Center. And it was an opportunity to get the community coming together. There was about 3,000 people that came out. And we had our hometown hero, Tim Hicks, who's a Canadian country music star. We gave him the key to the city. And it was really about building energy, in addition to recognizing Tim and all of his work that he's done in music. But it's also an opportunity, that event was to generate energy and positive momentum around the Games. Now, you're chair of the Niagara Trail Maintenance Association.
That's right.
You've pretty much been a part of the Games now for the last at least couple of years.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 years, I guess it's been. So it's been some time. I've seen a lot of work that we've done in that time. And things are progressing really, really well. So it's going to be an exciting time for the region itself.
You are also involved in the Pan Am Games as a volunteer as well. And
I did, yeah, absolutely.
So what was your role in those games?
So I was a volunteer, so I acted as a marshal for those games, which was a great learning experience for myself. Taught me a lot about that aspect of the sport. So it was really good. I saw a lot of the behind the scenes stuff there as well. So it kind of gave me a little bit of knowledge that I could take forward and use for the mountain bike event here for the Games.
So the interesting part is I've seen you many times, and it's usually you just blowing by me while you're riding on the 12-mile creek and into the short hills, and I'm just jogging along.
Yes.
So we've seen each other many times.
Absolutely.
But you've been an active member of the mountain biking community here in Niagara. How vibrant is mountain biking as a sport?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, if you look at, especially with COVID and stuff like that now, there's more people that want to get out on a bike. They want to get out, just to ride around, ride on the trails. It's really exciting. And I mean, there's such a passionate group too, just out to take care of the land and stuff like that. And, just go out there and enjoy nature, which is what we want to do. That's part of, our recovery from COVID, is to get out there and just enjoy what we have. I mean, Niagara has so many great trails, that can be used by, mountain bikers, runners, running clubs, hikers. Yep. It's fantastic what we have.
So the interesting thing about the mountain biking group is there's there's an environmental side to it as well. And I've seen your group. Now, you're a part of the Niagara Trail Maintenance Association.
Yes.
And in terms of what I've seen, and I explore as many different ravines as possible, is there's an attention to the environment. And it seems to be an important part of what you do.
Absolutely, and that's what we're all about, is to get out there and make these trails safe and sustainable for everyone to use. It's all about, you want to make sure that you take care of how the water will drain so you don't have erosion. You want to keep, make sure that trees in that stay so that you can use the roots to help with erosion as well. And it's all about making these trails safe. You're doing some trimming where you're making it less of a, to get poison ivy or, ticks or anything like that for those that are just out there for a hike.
Right.
The mountain bikers do a lot of that, and it's great to see that there's a passion there. And these people are from all over the region that have come and joined the NTMA, to do this trail work. And it's great to see. It's great for the community.
And so the legacy trail that's being developed, and again, this is the important part when we talk about the Canada Games, is the legacy that the Games leave behind. And there's a lot of legacy projects that are undertaken. The one that you're quarterbacking, to use a football term for a trail maintenance for mountain biking, the one that you're leading is the development of the 12-mile creek course. And tell us a bit about why was that location chosen, and what kind of work goes into bringing a trail like that to life?
So that to get to that point there where we selected that area, we were able to get the necessary approvals to use that space. We had a great landowner in the OPG to allow us to use that space, and it met Canada Games criteria that we needed to put a national event on. Having to be so many meters of climbing per lap. A lap has to be a certain distance, 4.6 kilometers, and has to be able to be done in a certain period of time, which is like 15 minutes. So that was one of the reasons for choosing that area. We were able to put everything together, and it worked out well. I mean, we still have a little bit of work to do to get things to the finish line, but all is going well. What we're basically doing is using a lot of existing trails that we have. We use a little bit of road, a little bit of, the gravel and stuff that's there to create what we're making, which is going to be a national course that, we'll be able to use as part of a legacy years down the road. We've already got a provincial event which will take place at the beginning of July, which is an O Cup. Which is great. We've never had an O Cup in our region because we haven't had the facility to be able to host something like that. So that's a great sign there for sure. We've also got some, other things planned, small events and things like that. I know that there's a running group doing a half marathon along the 12-mile creek corridor there as well. So there again, the trails are being used not only by mountain bikers, but by other, other parts of the community as well.
I did that half marathon, I think 3 times.
Yes.
Twice completed. The third time, I think I just sort of walked home.
I was stopped at your house.
But the unique thing about the course, and again, I've been involved with the Canada Games since the beginning, and there was discussion about putting it closer to Brock University. And I want to talk about location because there was a discussion about the Niagara Escarpment, and the reality is that is a recognized biosphere by UNESCO, and there was no opportunity. And talking to Brock University, talking with the Niagara Escarpment Commission, there was not going to be an ability to put a course on that land. And so when we talk about where the land is very close to Brock. It's off Lockhart.
Correct.
And the location is important because it connects up into Brock, where, again, the Canada Sports and Ability Centre is adjacent to. So the location being close to Brock, but also on OPG land, is really an opportunity to create a course that is respectful of the environment and at the same time close enough to the amenities such as Brock, where you can host these larger tournaments, these larger races, the O Cup and national programs. And so in terms of the legacy of this, in terms of what you've worked on, How would this be managed moving forward? Is the Trail Association going to be making sure that you got a wonderful bridge there that's being built, that these are going to be maintained by the association?
Right, that's our long-term plan. I mean, we have some agreements to put in place for that to happen. But we maintain these trails throughout, the 12 Mile Creek corridor in the, areas around it, up into Thorold and whatnot. We've been doing that for years, but we're looking to put an agreement together with OPG City to be able to maintain those to a certain level and, for years to come, so that we'll have the use of this legacy piece for many years to come. Inspecting the features and things, bridges like you mentioned, right, is an ongoing thing for us, just to make sure that everything is safe for everybody to use. Right. It comes down to safety and sustainability for the community is what we really want, and that's what we're all about doing this trail work. Last year, our volunteers, we put over 1,000 member volunteer hours in to the trail that we're building for the Canada Games course. And those are people that are, giving their time. They actually pay a $40 membership fee that we use to pay for our liability insurance. They're just coming out because they're passionate about the trails, about what we can do here and how we can make things better for everybody to use. And we feel it when we're out there because, for us to be out there and doing stuff like that, it feels good. Like it feels like it's relaxing, And that's the thing that we want people to do, is we want them to get out there and just go for a walk. Like a lot of people don't even know we have these trails, right. Or, like where do they go and what, can I just hike on them? Can I ride on them? We're lucky that, OPG allows us these trails, allows us to use them, for anybody to go out there and just enjoy, a couple of hours of your day, and just kind of a stress relief,
Well, and there's always been friction when you introduce new programs or new infrastructure to communities. And as someone who's walked a lot of the Bruce Trail, you understand even the Bruce Trail itself is manufactured, manicured by people, and it's done in respectful ways. And much like this trail here, which is designed for mountain biking, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for people of all abilities to be able to use as a new trail system within St. Catharines. And
absolutely.
We talk about legacy and the legacy of the games. This is again a piece where, do you see mountain biking on this course as, in 10 years we'll be talking about a young woman or a young man who started on this course and is now doing Olympic level riding? And is this the kind of infrastructure that would create those opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's something we hadn't had in this area before. This is a training facility, let's call it, even though it is outdoors and whatnot, but it's still a way for youth to train. We had a lot of young people from our area go on to cycle, but how much better would they be if we had this in place for them to practice on? Even older people, just to go out and train on stuff like that. They want to go do an event. This is it's a training tool for them that we never had before. And as part of the legacy, I think that's going to be fantastic for years to come for youth. We've already seen younger kids out there, trying the features and out there riding the trails. And that's what it should be about, is getting the community involved, getting them out there and using these trails. I mean, we have so much to offer, just go out and experience them. Yeah.
Tim, I want to say thank you on behalf of our community and all the volunteers that have gone into the creation of this trail. And for our community, the Canada Games are only a couple months away, so check them out. Go to Niagara Canada 2022 Games, just type it into Google, you'll find it, and it has all of the different sports that are going to be taking place. And this is going to be a cool one that you're able to come out and see, and really see a new legacy piece around mountain biking that is going to truly transform how we enjoy and explore the 12 Mile Creek ecosystem. So I want to say thank you. Looking forward to seeing you on the trail.
Yes.
And right after the break, we're going to have Steve Borisenko coming on and talking about youth substance use and addictions and what we're doing to try and work through some of these issues. So you don't want to miss that. Hi, and welcome back to Our Home with Mayor Sendzik. And we just heard all about what's happening with the Canada Summer Games. Now we're going to be talking with Steve Borisenko, and we're going to be talking about something a lot more personal and an issue that more and more families and communities are facing across North America. And if we don't bring it out of the shadows, if we don't talk about it more, our fear is that your experience that you've had that we're going to talk about is going to be experienced by a lot more people. But before we get to the story, you've been a guitar technician, and we were just talking about this before the break. 25 years on the road with some of the biggest stars in music: Rihanna, Madonna, Carrie Underwood, and so many more. And you've traveled the world.
Yeah.
And you said you went around the world at least 15 times.
Yeah, I've traveled a lot.
So that's a guitar technician. So anyone who's ever seen a concert, when all those pieces of musical equipment come onto the stage and the artist puts a strap around them, that's people like
me.
Steve who are doing the technicians. And now you're the production manager at the Fallsview Casino here in Niagara. And in terms of that, the touring role and then being in the production, balancing that and balancing it with your family.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
That's got to be a tough gig.
Yeah, I think that you have a lot of guilt for not being home.
Right.
And eventually you just reach your point and go, I need to make a change and I need to be home, which is what happened. And then the casino offered a great opportunity. So it was, okay, let's snatch this up. And now I don't even know if I could go back on the road.
Right. Well, it's interesting because once you get into a position, we're fortunate to have the Fallsview Casino in our community. That isn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
You and I were talking previously about the amount of talent that comes through there.
Oh yeah.
And again, you're providing the production experience for them, and so you get to see all this talent without having to travel over.
I know. It worked out well.
Now.
Exactly. It worked out well.
And so our connection came about because of a personal story, a tragedy in your family.
Yeah.
And I received a phone call from you, and you were talking about what happened to your son Jacob. So can you share the story of Jacob?
So Jacob was 21 years old. He was full of life. He had some anxiety issues. He had some problems that we were dealing with. He ended up self-medicating and taking some drugs that weren't clean drugs, and it's a suspected fentanyl overdose, and he passed away June 11th.
So did he play sports? Was he?
He did. He played hockey from the time he was 6 years old until he was 18. He loved hockey.
And who did he play for? What was the?
He played for Welland Tigers. He played for Port Coleman Sailors.
Yeah, so he played travel hockey.
We did, I think there was a year of travel, but mostly it was house league. Yeah. He never wanted to go to travel. He was happy in house league. That's where all his friends were. That's where there was no pressure. Jake didn't deal well with pressure. He didn't. I think a lot of kids these days, they have a really hard time dealing with pressure.
And that's a key part of some of the issues that he was facing.
Very much so, very much. And I think, looking back on it now as a father, I think that I didn't let him fail enough. Because you always want to bubble wrap your kids, and when they fail at something, you want to try and make it so it's not so hard, so they don't. But I think when we don't let our children fail, they don't learn how to fail. And when they start to become adults and they're faced with failing, because we all do, they haven't learned the lesson.
Right. And you faced the most difficult situation that any parent would ever face, and that's the death of their child. And you reached out, and you were frustrated. And there's many different paths people can choose. The path you chose was, I want to make a difference. I want what happened to Jacob, I want that to be a learning opportunity and a way to make change. And so I honor that, because it is a very difficult discussion to have, and it's a very personal experience that you've had, and then to be able, and it was immediate within a couple of weeks after Jacob passed away, you were on the phone saying, Mr. Mayor, you got to do something.
I did. I reached out to you, and you brought in Talia Storm. And yeah, it was within 10 days, and we were talking. And you jumped into action, I gotta say. I wasn't expecting the reaction that I got, because you never, until it happens to you, you don't know where to go, you don't know how to deal with anything. And
that was part of the discussion,
Yeah.
right? Because so what's happened to date is Talia Storm, Positive Living, there's a working group that has been formed because of Steve's outreach. A working group has been formed to tackle the issue of substance use and abuse amongst young people in our community. And we're doing it in a unique way, but around that table is the school boards, both the public and the Catholic, Brock University, Niagara College, the hospital, Caisson, Pathstone, Niagara Region Native Center, Steps Niagara. There was the Niagara Regional Police, there's a whole group that came together, because what you just said a few minutes ago was you didn't know who to reach out to.
Yeah.
And talk about your experience and how, as a parent with a child who's going through substance use, not knowing who to call. What was the barrier there?
So in February of 2020 he overdosed. We ended up in the hospital, and it's not through anyone's fault, it's just how the system is set up. The direction I was given as a parent standing in the emergency room is there's some pamphlets over there you can look at. And in the moment, as I don't even know my name, my son just overdosed, he's in a room, and like, how am I supposed to read through pamphlets and try and figure this out? And it just became so obvious that the system's broken. The more overdoses we get, and the numbers are staggering right now, and they're skyrocketing, the more that we have, the more we have to realize that what we're doing and what we have done in the past isn't going to work now. We need to change the system. And you've been instrumental in changing that system, and the outpouring of support from all those groups you just mentioned has been incredible. And there are so many people that care and are currently doing things and did do things before, but we didn't, as a parent, I didn't know where to go. And when you go onto their web pages, it's so convoluted and it's hard to get through, and at the stressful point that you're at, it's so hard to make it through these things. And I wanted to sort of amalgamate everything and make it so that when a parent's going through this, or a child's going through this, they have somewhere to go that makes sense, that's easy, that they can look at and go, okay, I understand that, and get an action plan put together and reach out to people, because there are people out there. We just need to put spotlights on them and show what they're doing. And I don't think we have that system in place.
No, and I think you've identified that very accurately, where the working group's goal is to create a campaign, a marketing campaign, an awareness campaign that gives people the tools in an easy to understand way that helps them navigate. And you and I were talking, there's a company in St. Catharines called Moonbase that has been chosen to do this campaign, and it's using all the different assets that we have at the City of St. Catharines. And so this is the important part about the campaign, is that we've got the Meridian Center, the First Ontario Performing Arts Center, we've got the Transit, we've got the Aquatic Center, we've got all these libraries and arenas. And as Steve was talking about, playing at an arena, if you go to the Seymour Hanna Arena today, you would have there's not one touch point for awareness about if a parent suspects their child is using drugs. There's not one touch point in the arena, and there's not one touch point for youth who may be struggling with depression, anxiety, other mental health issues that are fueling the drug use, and there's no awareness. It's like we had blinders on that this didn't exist, and when you came forward, this has really been your push, your direction to say, we got to create more awareness, and you got to give it to people where they're at, not where you think as an organization you need to be, but actually where you were and
Absolutely.
are. And In terms of the outcome of this, what are you hoping that comes out? You know, if we can project, because the campaign looks to be launching in the summertime, if you can project forward, what are you hoping to as
I
an
want to
outcome?
see these numbers come down.
And touch on the number, because so the Positive Living they collect the overdose deaths that are taking place and the number of overdose. And one of the most startling and tragic statistics is Niagara has one of the highest overdose deaths for people under the age of 24. So I'll let that one sit with the audience for a second, under the age of 24. And we have one of the highest in the country. And so this work that you've embarked on and are taking us on this journey, the hope is that we can drive those numbers down through awareness.
Yeah, I think kids need, I know in Jacob's case, therapy helped. It did help him with anxiety, and it helped him with stress, and it helped him deal with things. And when COVID hit, the therapy was gone. And it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve. So, okay, we'll make it 2 weeks. And then it was a month, and then it was 3 months. And there were no Zoom meetings, and there were no WebEx. It was a therapist walking away.
Yeah.
And he was left on his own. And I didn't know how to deal with that. And I didn't know where to reach out to get other help. And we need to change that. These kids need help. They need purpose, they need direction. And we need to make sure they get it. It's too late for Jake. But we're losing a kid almost every other day in this community. Yeah. And it's got to stop. We need to stop and go, the old way we were doing things isn't working anymore. We need to reinvent the wheel. We need to actually get this moving in a different direction so these kids have a chance, because right now they don't.
Well, you're starting that, and
we're starting that.
And I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And it's from a tragic situation to hopefully an opportunity where we can really make substantive changes in what's happening in our community. So,
yeah, and I can't thank you enough for doing everything that you've done.
I appreciate it.
It's been, you've been incredible.
Thank you.
Talia's been incredible, and everyone in the workforce, task force has been incredible.
Thank you.
It's been a great outpouring.
So more information is going to be coming out. For those who are looking to get in touch with Steve, you will have his email address. If you're a parent, Steve has been amazing in opening himself up to having conversations with other parents. So please feel free to reach out. And more information is going to be coming out on the working group and the campaign that we're developing. So have those conversations with your kids. Really start to understand what's happening in your families, and look for the resources that are available to you, whether it's mental health, drug addiction, addictions recovery. Look for the information. We're going to try and make it easier, but right now, if you're facing something, find that information, reach out to people. There's a lot of resources that are available. So I want to say thank you, Steve, for coming on the show. I want to say thank you to Tim Breadman, who came on to talk about the Canada Games. And until next time, enjoy the May. The spring showers brought some Mayflowers, so enjoy them.